So two quick questions in. I've never quite understood this. So I've never been a big believer in doing things that don't feel good. So as a holistic concept, if my gut says don't do it, I don't really do it. But I love exercise. I love feeling healthy. But there's some nights where I get home and I just literally want to drink 5 beers and eat a bag of Doritos. Every now and then I will do that. But oftentimes I'll say, you know what? I know I feel great when I go and get some exercise. And I will force myself to go get some exercise. And afterwards, you know, the heart's beating, the muscles are strong, your posture's good, the blood's flowing, and I feel great. But this is probably the one area in my life where if I don't feel like doing it, I sort of try to make myself do it, and then I feel better. So what's up with that, where I want to eat Doritos and beer and not go exercise, even though I know exercise is going to feel better for me at the end?
If you could find, and it's hard to do after the fact, if you could find the thought momentum that led up to that, you would have a clear understanding of what the pre-paving of the beer and Dorito was, and the pre-paving of what the getting to the exercise is, because you can't just take the end result and compare them to each other. You have to understand what the pre-paving momentum of energy was leading up to it. Okay. That's the most significant thing. Another thing is that every desire is really two subjects. It's what is wanted on one end and what is not wanted on the other end, or the absence of what is wanted on the other end. Sometimes you may be approaching your desire in a way that is more counterproductive, and so it almost inspires the opposite. It's sort of like somebody trying to boss you around and tell you to do something, and you just want to do the very opposite of what they're saying. You can't make me do that, you said to your mother when you were a child. Or maybe you didn't, but maybe you did, but maybe you didn't say it out loud. You're not the boss of me. And so there's some of that going on. But there's another piece here that we are interested in exploring just a little bit with you, and that is, you know how you say that once you make yourself do it, and then you slip into that known behavior, and the cooperative cells of your body began to play their role, and then you begin to enjoy it. And so this is why often people say, well, if I just make myself do it, I just make myself do it, and then I begin to enjoy it. So what this conversation really is about momentum. It's about knowing what you want, and what you want being more dominant, and so it carrying the day. But the way you can move into what you really mean to do and what you really want to do without that uncomfortable time of needing to make yourself do it is by doing it with the momentum of your thought. Sit with a focus wheel. A focus wheel, you know about it? Just take a page and draw a circle in the center and draw some circles around the outer edge, and in the center make a statement of something that really means something. I love my good feeling body, or I love the vitality of my body. And then just make some statements. I love how my body responds, and I love that feeling of euphoria that I get, and I love the way the energy flows through my body, and I so adore that feeling of my heart pumping, and I like that feeling of posture and vitality and invincibility. And just write your way around here before you even get into your running clothes or whatever they are. Do that, and then see what happens. Do some momentum before the action. Let the thought be the momentum factor, and then you won't have that having to make yourself do something that you don't want to do. And we are really proponents of never doing anything that you don't feel like doing, because there is counter production that happens during that time you're making yourself do it. You would be better off not doing it during that time. And you say, but it led me to something that was really good. And we say, yeah, and it was almost as good as if you hadn't had to go through that time, but it isn't as good. Even when you get to the good stuff isn't as good as the good stuff would have been, because you had to go through the bad stuff. You follow? It's like taking your train 80 miles an hour that way before you decide to take it 80 miles an hour that way. And we say, don't take it 80 miles an hour that way. Do it with thought. Get your momentum going, and then get into the receptive mode, and then. So when we say we wouldn't do anything that we don't feel like doing, that's the same thing as saying get into the receptive mode, and then get into the receptive mode. Really good conversation.